Palais by SAT. Look, some good news. Hold on. Palais? Yes, that's right. Well, SAT has something called, hold on, Palais. Look, talk, SAT is having a special for this independence season, and you need to get connected to enjoy the benefits. It's called Palais. Once you set up and connected with SAT, you can talk to your mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, stepmother, stepbrother, stepsister, the whole step. Palais is so sweet with your connection to SAT telecoms, and especially when you get your internet connection, no hidden fees, no hidden charges. You get free SAT to SAT telephone connection. You also get free installation, and you get no charges on your talk time. And you get your telephone for free. Oh, baka pay boy, you don't hear? Palais, baka do. So you have at home your TV, SAT TV. You have your internet, SAT internet. And now, phone, look at Palais. All your talk is sweet. Hello. Take advantage of one of SAT's 5 internet packages in our Palais specials. You can get the Breezy, the Warm-Up, the Maverick, the Jetstream, and the Warp Drive. Don't forget the Palais. These packages starting at $28.75. Palais. Yeah, don't forget from SAT. This independence season, don't forget it's happening at SAT. Palais. Festival, c'est manger. Tout le monde, manger. Mais SAT, c'est Palais. Yep, Palais. Yes.
Good evening, I am Nisha Charles and I am your presenter for today. Thank you for joining me for SAT TV News. Among the major developments, record number of students graduate from the Dominica State College. Antigua and Barbuda continues fight with US over trade dispute. Obama and Romney prepare for New York debate. And in sports, Chris Gayle believes that forthcoming West Indies tour to Bangladesh is likely to be challenging. Details of these and other stories after the break. Thank you for staying with us. Now for the details of the news. Taxi operators are better equipped to provide quality service to visitors in Dominica after receiving their certificates from a training program. This comes after a training was conducted by the Discover Dominique Authority in conjunction with Combined Taxi Inc. to teach taxi operators how to provide quality service. One of the participants, Mr. Daniel Didier, says in his mind the DDA and Combined Taxi Inc. put a lot of effort into the training program, and he encourages his fellow taxi operators to digest the information and reproduce it effectively.
We have an abundance of soil here, all right? I'd like to see the day come, I don't know, because I have this in my mind, I'm beginning to expose my, my grandchildren to these things, my children, and then by extension my grandchildren, to study, you know, the science of soil, especially the red soil we have here. I learned that it's big money in India and Africa. They use that for medicine, you know, they take that in forms of tablets and pills, you know. The ladies bathe with that, keeps them beautiful, you know, that sort of thing. All right? I think that should be in our curriculum in the schools so that our children could go on to study this thing.
Activities covered at the training including conflict management, communication skills, and current tourism issues. One of the training officers, Mr. Michael Durand, says that with the continued support of the DDA, they hope to restructure the program by having more varied topics.
We at CTI, in collaboration with DDA, will lobby the Ministry of Tourism and Legal Affairs to put the necessary mechanisms in place to facilitate the process for the 2013-2014 cruise season. Participants during the program displayed great enthusiasm in relation to the sessions and showed great appreciation for the sessions on conflict management, social security, record keeping, and CNCDs.
Director of Tourism at the DDA, Mr. Colin Piper, says continuing education is very critical in this industry, and he congratulates the participants for taking part in the program.
That respect is not what others bestow on us, but rather the value that we place on ourselves and on the service that we offer. Therefore, as you look at your actions in the industry, are you respecting yourself? Are you respecting your trade and your profession? Are you respecting the industry?
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Mrs. Claudia Bellat, says our primary goal should be to keep the cruise ships coming to our ports and to attract new ships to the country.
You as taxi drivers are of course one of the first service providers to interact with the visitors. And I think you know that it is your responsibility to ensure that your service is excellent, that it is beyond the expectation of the visitor, and that you can provide a memorable, pleasant, and lasting impression of the country. As a country and as organizations that work in the tourism industry, on which Dominica depends, and which is the leading contributor to the economy at this time, and on which many Dominicans, such as you, depend for their livelihood.
She said she would be all willing to take the necessary measures to ensure the industry is well regulated and there is compliance with the industry. 280 people participated in the program, which commenced on August 23, 2012 and continued every Thursday until September 27th. They had to participate in at least 7 sessions in order to qualify for the certificate. In more news, a totally new way to reduce, reuse and recycle organic waste is to compost. Compost is organic matter that has been decomposed and recycled as a fertilizer and soil amendment. Compost is a key ingredient in organic farming. Recently, the World Bank stated that governments should seek ways to create employment for people in their countries. Mr. Jenu Jacobs, Public Relations Officer of the Dominica Soil Waste Management Corporation, says composting should be viewed as an income earner for Dominicans.
Groups, young people can go into composting and sell that compost to farmers, right? And there's a demand for compostable material from organically grown foods. There's a demand globally. There's a move for people eating foods that are produced organically. There's a move away, a shift away from eating foods which are genetically modified, like cornflakes and so forth. You know, I always say to people that we should be mindful of this.
Food prices have risen significantly because of the effect of global warming, the production of foods such as corn, which is used to produce most of what we eat today. Mr. Jacobs says the world is shifting away from eating foods that are genetically modified, and composting will help in this regard.
When corn is used in producing a lot of the foods that we eat, that we consume, even in oil, cooking oil. So how do we go back to eating local and producing local? And composting for us is one of the ways forward. And we're saying to people that to the public that we welcome their initiatives on board in composting as reducing the volume, the 50+% of waste coming to the landfill.
The Dominica Soil Waste Management Corporation is working together with Dome and Fair Trade to put together a comprehensive composting program to target village councils in taking up the idea of composting. This idea is a major way to reduce the volumes of waste at the landfill.
So we will again working with the Ministry of Agriculture. We are working with the Environmental Health Department, the Environmental Coordinating Unit, with JICA, the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, and other stakeholders who are on board with us in ensuring that we reduce volumes of waste, that we continue to educate our various publics.
The compost itself is beneficial for the land in many ways, including a soil conditioner, a fertilizer, addition of vital humans, and as a natural pesticide for soil. He says this is not just about earning income for Dominicans, but it is about keeping the nature island of the Caribbean clean and green, and to make sure that it will be here for generations to come. For the first time, the Dominica State College is graduating an excess of 300 students. The commencement ceremony, which took place on Monday, October 15th, where 389 students graduated at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. A major feature at the ceremony was the graduation of 8 students receiving Bachelors of Science in Nursing. Armed with their diplomas in hand, Honorable Kelva Daru, who represented the Minister of Education, Honorable Peason Sejan, encouraged the graduates to venture into the world and achieve their goals.
With an associate degree from the Dominica State College, students will be able to demonstrate core knowledge skills, attitudes and competencies needed to be successful for the 21st century. These students can confidently contribute to the development in their communities and progress at universities across the world and at their workplace. One of the main objectives of the Dominican State College has always been to supply a workforce that is equipped to contribute to economic development.
The government continues to focus on securing scholarships for Dominicans across the world, including Cuba, China, Russia, Venezuela, and Morocco. The keynote address came from Dr. E. Robinson, Dean E. Robinson, who is an associate professor of political science at the University of Massachusetts in the United States. He says there is no reason why the graduates should not take their pursuit of higher education as far as they can dream of. He suggests that knowledge is not only instrumental, but we need to explore and develop an approach that helps cultivate intellectual and broader development goals.
To say that higher education increases your chances for employment is obvious. In Dominica and elsewhere, pursuing higher education is a main focus for many of us, as it should be. In a developing country like our own, and even in a rich country like the United States, there is the expectation that more education means better and more steady employment, and this is true. But this is not the only reason why higher education is important.
He says that as they pursue higher education, it is very likely that their interests will evolve and expand. The objective of knowledge and learning is not just about economic opportunity, but for intellectual and ultimately developmental goals.
I study politics and health status in an attempt to address various inequalities that exist according to things like social class or indigenous status. We cannot understand the sources of these inequities only by thinking through a medical framework. Ultimately, health reflects the distribution of power and influence in a society. It reflects the opportunity of individuals and groups to engage in meaningful ways in multiple spheres of life.
Dennis Lermont Guy is this year's valedictorian. He says to accomplish great things, we must not only act but also dream, not to plan but also believe. He says the Dominican State College not only provided an environment conducive to education, but the guidance necessary to further their studies.
To the administration of the DSC, thank you for making our experience at the DSC a pleasant one. It is only through your dedication and perseverance that the objective of our education was completed. However, let us not forget our friends and families who played a vital role in this our latest achievement. There were times when the workload may have seemed too intimidating, or when financial or social problems burdened us. And it was only through your encouragement and sacrifices that we were able to continue.
He asked the graduating class not to forget why they came to the State College and to enter the world with a new and bright approach on life. 263 students graduated from the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, 54 from the Faculty of Applied Arts and Technology, 34 from the Faculty of Education, and 38 from the Faculty of Health Sciences. A press conference was held on Tuesday, October 16th at the police headquarters to discuss traffic management and security at the 16th edition of the World Creole Music Festival. Superintendent of Police Ms. Yvonne Alexander says the World Creole Music Festival is one of the international appeal and this attracts large crowds on island. She says there are challenges in the level of security they provide to the general public, but they are up to that challenge.
In the past, we have put in place quite a range of security arrangements to ensure security within the venue, security outside the venue, and as well as to include patrols of our seats.
She says one incident that gets out of control can impact on the perceived enjoyment of the event. The venue for the World Creole Music Festival poses challenges, and with that comes traffic management and control issues. Mr. Amos Irish, ASP in charge of committee policing, says arrangements will be put in place to reduce congestion during the festival, which includes carpooling.
Carpool in the sense that if you can travel with, let's say, as opposed to having 5-6 vehicles in the neighborhood going to that same venue, if persons can join together and use one vehicle to minimize that congestion in town. So we are saying to persons that they should really carpool and ensure that they reduce the volume of traffic in the vicinity of the Windsor Park Stadium. This is so as this will cater for quick movement of persons from the stadium in the event of an unlikely event such as a fire or other natural disaster.
Over the years, the police have had the cooperation of the public, and this year they expect it to be no different. From the police standpoint, they will ensure that traffic management is in place.
With the advent of the new link road, parking will be available for close to about 70 to 75 vehicles. One-side parking will be available to motorists on Riverbank and Hillsborough Street and Cox Street, also Great George Street. We will have radio announcement as the event unfolds, and that will be done to sensitize motorists and the motoring public to ensure that they are very mindful as to the level of parking that will be available.
The police are asking persons who will be attending the festival to inform a neighbor or friend that they are leaving to go to the event. This will help in the event that something unfortunate does happen and the police can act swiftly. They are asking that Bath Road be free at all times in case of an emergency. Only residents who own motor vehicles will be permitted to enter into that area once it has been closed off. And 4 computers have been donated to the students of the Dominica State College. 3 of them will go to the Student Services Center. They also received internet. President of the Dominica State College, Dr. Donald Peters, is very grateful for the donation and says we cannot build a college without the involvement of the corporate entities.
Essentially, by 2014, we expect to have 500 computers on this campus, and 4 of them will contribute to student services, which is not part of the 500.
Mr. Raymond Cole, who represents the general manager of Lime, says that at the company they have realized there is a huge win-win opportunity to reconnect with the youth in Dominica.
Lime is here because we recognize a huge win-win opportunity to reconnect with the youth in Dominica, to reconnect with the movers and shakers of the next 10, 15, 20 years, because that is who you all are. And we have a great respect for the fact that Lime is looking forward to reconnecting with all of you.
The company has engaged in a number of projects to help the students at the college, including bringing on board this past summer.
Things like refurbishing the student center, things like providing telecommunications via a PBX system are all some of the things that we've done, and we continue to support the development of the students here at Dominica State College. You may notice a few of your colleagues that were interns with us over the summer, where they worked with Lime as part of their development here at Dominica State College to become more well-rounded.
The Dominica State College hopes that other corporate entities will come on board to help develop institutes like the Dominica State College. The students will be charged a small fee to use internet at the Student Services Center. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.